Okay, so I have a couple stories, well, 3 stories to tell y'all about the girls, and I will also show everyone what I pack for Eve whenever we go on a road trip to see my family. So, a couple nights ago, well, it might have been 3 nights ago, I don't know, but a few nights ago, I was outside burning, and someone was outside with me, and Pepper was outside. Eve is afraid of the fire. Yo-Yo doesn't really like it. She'll come out and she'll play some with Pepper, and then she's ready to go in when we're burning. But Pepper doesn't mind whatsoever. So we were outside, and it was late. It was like 10 or later, and Pepper was being such a good girl. She was laying down, and we were relaxing and, just talking, and the next thing I know, Pepper's up and she runs over to the side of the fence and she's barking. And it wasn't her usual bark, it was a different bark, and I'm thinking like, oh, there's probably like a cat over there, because we do have some neighbors that have cats and they come over to our yard, and yeah, so I got the flashlight and I walk over, and it wasn't a cat, it was a guy. And I was like, oh, this is a little sketchy. And he was trying to talk to us and explain, like what happened and why he had walked over to our house. And Pepper wouldn't stop barking, so I had to put her inside. And he apologized for scaring us. And he did say Pepper scared him a little bit, which is understandable. She's kind of a big dog, and her bark was kind of scary. It was definitely an alert bark. And anyway, his dirt bike had broke down, and he didn't have his phone, and he pushed his dirt bike over to our neighbor's house, and they weren't home, but he was just having a really, really bad night. And anyway, so John came out and he talked to him and ended up taking him home, and yeah, but Pepper did really good and let us know, that something or someone different was around, and I'm pretty proud of her about that. Well, then when I let her out of the house after he had left, she walked around smelling and looking and making sure he was gone and we were safe, and I know, you want to go out. Anyway, so her was a good girl. And then Yo-Yo, so Yo-Yo does this thing where she roots like a hog, literally like a hog. She doesn't do it, all the time or anything, but she will. I'm not sure why. If she pukes in the car, because she gets car sick, she'll try to root it all to one spot, and it's cute, but I'm like, Yo-Yo, I'll clean it up anyway. You don't have to try to fix it. So we have been trimming some of the bushes around the house and a few limbs and stuff, and we have put some of the tools in the backyard up against the house, and usually there's just a couple shovels and a rake that are there. Well, that's where we put the tools, was with those things, and I don't know why, but Yo-Yo goes over and she roots and roots and roots, and she ends up burying the tools in some dirt. And I didn't know what she was doing at first. I just saw her rooting, and we were laughing about it and stuff, and then finally walked over to see what she was doing, and she had covered the tools up. Yeah, I have no clue why. After she got done, she was happy with how they were covered up. She was done, and she just went on and played with Pepper some. And then last night, Pepper and Yo-Yo were outside, and so we piled up some of the trimmings from the bushes and stuff next to the fence, which is close to where our burn barrel is. And I hear Pepper and Yo-Yo barking, and it wasn't, their normal, like, playful bark. It was a little different, and I'm like, okay, is something else out there? So I go out to see what they're barking at, and they're over at one of the piles of brush, and I'm like, I don't see anything, why are you barking? And Pepper kept walking over and, like, smelling, and then I heard a little growl. And I was like, okay, like, what is in here? And it took me a few minutes to see what it was because it was a black cat that was under the brush. And I was like, oh my gosh, girls, like, you scaring this poor kitty to death. It's not our cat. We don't have any cats, unfortunately. I would love to have a cat, but I think Pepper has a high prey drive and it just wouldn't be very good if we did have one. Anyway, so I was wanting to see, like, girls, if I could maybe catch the cat and put it out of the fence. So I put my arm out, like this, not super close or anything, just to see, and it would growl. It wasn't really like a mean cat or anything. I think it was just scared because it didn't, stay kind of curled up, and it didn't try to, like, bite me or scratch me or even hiss at me, but I didn't want to scare it anymore, so I took a rake and I moved the brush away from it so that whenever I did let the girls out again, I could look and see if it was still there or not before they went outside. And I left one of the gates on the fence open so it would have an easier time getting out. And I went and checked, and 30 minutes, an hour later, whatever, and it was out of the fence, which was good. So now to what I pack for Eve when we go places, which we don't go places very often, and it's a little different what I pack depending on which dog is going or how many are going, and yeah. So I try to pack some toys. Eve doesn't really use them very much, but I'll pack, like, one of these, and Eve likes the plush toys like this. So I think that's the only one we have that actually still has the stuffing in it, but I try to pack some of those for her. And I do have a leash in the car already. I keep a leash in the car, John keeps a leash in the car, but when we go places, we usually take this excuse me, this leash. It has hand sanitizer and doggy poop bags on it, but when I take Eve, we don't usually have to stop anywhere. We can do the ride, straight there. If I take Yo-Yo, we do have to stop because Yo-Yo gets car sick and stuff, and yeah, no. So when I take Eve, this is my doggy travel bag. It works really, really well for one dog. It does okay for two dogs. If I take all three, it's not quite big enough. But when I take Eve, I take paw and nose balm, a brush. I take our doggy nail clippers. I take a rain jacket because if it's raining, Eve will not go outside to potty unless she just cannot hold it anymore. And I mean, she will hold it, like, if it's raining all day, she will hold it all day. If I put the rain jacket on her, she'll run out and potty real quick and run back in. So I take her rain jacket, and it's supposed to be cold, so I'm taking her this cute sweater. And before we go, I'll put her harness on her and probably a bandana. She likes to dress up. And there's already a water bowl where we're going. Yeah, we're going to my mammal's, and she has an older dog, and so she has a water bowl, but he is old and he has to eat really soft food. And he can't eat Eve's food, so I have to take a separate food bowl. And also Eve has a sensitive stomach, so she's only allowed to eat certain foods that I know won't make her sick. So we have this storage for our dog food, and what I do when I take any of the girls is I fill this small part up, which, we don't usually go anywhere for very long, so if it's just one dog, we don't need the whole thing full, but I like to have more than what I need just in case, because you never know. And also we take some dog treats. I have them in this container. I made it out of an old pickle jar. But the dog treats are in here, and I put a few in a smaller container and tape. And also I need to make copies tomorrow before I leave of Eve's rabies and all her shots and everything that she's had this year, because just having a rabies tag is not enough proof. You have to have the actual paper. I don't think Eve was gonna bite anyone, but I would rather be safe than if she did bite someone and not be prepared for that. We do have, which we let a friend borrow it, but we do have this cool little doggy water bottle thing, and it actually has a little bowl on the end where you can pour the water into it, but we let a friend borrow it, so I don't have that, but I will take some water and stuff for Eve just in case. But like I said, with Eve, we don't usually stop anywhere, we just go straight there. Especially since the virus has happened and everything, and the pandemic, I try not to stop if I'm going to see my family. It's only 4 or 5 hour-ish drive, depending on which way you go and traffic and everything. If I take Yo-Yo, we do have to stop halfway. If I take Pepper, we're pretty good. She can make it all the way. She does get car sick on the curves, though. Luckily, Eve does not get car sick. And I also try to put up all the food when we go to bed, so that way they don't have anything in their stomach for the car ride. Especially for Yo-Yo, I try to put it up earlier than before we go to bed, because I've left the food out, and then whenever we went to bed, I put it up, and then I took Yo-Yo the next day, and we left at 12 or so, and I had left the food up, all day and everything, and Yo-Yo still got car sick and puked up a whole bunch of dog food from what she ate the day before. Yeah. What are you looking at, Eve? Eve, what are you looking at? Hi. And Eve wears a harness in the car, and we have doggy seatbelts, and when we go on long trips is when I use them for the dogs, especially for Pepper. Eve doesn't really need the seatbelt for anything other than possibly safety if we were to wreck, which hopefully never happens. She's really good. She waits for me to tell her that she can get out of the car, and Yo-Yo is also really good. She waits for me to put the leash on her before she jumps out. Pepper's the one who's like, oh, the door's open. The door's open. She's even, on short rides when she wasn't buckled up, she's even, when I've opened my door, jumped out behind me or over me to get out. And I'm like, geez, Pepper. But she rides good. She used to try to get up front with us all the time, but she does pretty good about that now. Pepper loves sticking her head out the window, but I am afraid that she will try to jump out. She's gonna see something, be like, oh, I gotta get it. And it's definitely, you can ask anyone who's met Pepper, it's definitely something she would do. I'm not sure if Yo-Yo would jump out or not. I don't think she would. Eve would not. I can roll all the windows all the way down without having Eve buckled in and don't have to worry about anything. Yeah. So I've got to pick out what harness for Eve. Pretty much, or no, I'm sorry, not what harness, what bandana. Pretty much all the bandanas and things we have are Eve's. I think there's like 3 of them that are not hers, and the rest are hers. We also, pretty much all the sweaters except for one are Eve's sweaters. There's one that I did pick out. It's a little bit too big for Eve. It fits Yo-Yo really well, so I gave that one to Yo-Yo. And I did buy Yo-Yo a cute sweater. Pepper doesn't really have any clothes. Like, she'll let us put them on her and she'll wear them, but she doesn't really get cold or anything, so she doesn't need one. Whereas Eve gets cold, Yo-Yo gets cold. Eve also just likes to dress up anyway, so she gets so excited when I get a sweater or bandana. And maybe we will get a video of Eve and all of her doggy relatives. And by doggy relatives, I mean they're like my sister's dog, my mama's dog, my aunt's dogs, my mom's, like, you know, they're not actually related to her. Eve, are you wanting to go outside? Is that why you keep looking at the door like that? Do you want to go outside? Go, come on. There you go. Anyway, so that's our stories and what I pack for Eve when we go somewhere. I pack pretty much the same things for the other 2 dogs. For Pepper, I don't really pack any clothes. I might pack one bandana or something, but for Yo-Yo, I take these baby wipes because if she doesn't get sick in the car, she drools a whole lot. I also take Benadryl for her, and I do take like one sweater for Yo-Yo. The rain jacket unfortunately doesn't fit Yo-Yo, so she doesn't. I have to make her go out in the rain if it's raining to potty, but I'm not sure she would if she did have a rain jacket. She doesn't wear clothes or anything unless she is cold. That's the only time I really dress up our dogs. Sometimes I'll put a bandana on them if we're, you know, going somewhere or something, but yeah. And I'm only taking Eve because Yo-Yo does get car sick and we have to stop halfway. And it's nice to take Eve with a pandemic because we don't have to stop unless I'm the one who has to potty. We can just go straight there. I'm not taking Pepper because Yo-Yo has some separation anxiety and she doesn't do very well when it's just her. So it's good for her to have a companion. Yeah, so that's our video for today, and hopefully I'll get a video of the other doggies and a video the setup I have for the girls in the car, their seat cover, and everything else I have too.